City Youth. Today we're looking at John chapter 10, and in John chapter 10 Jesus describes himself as I am the door. But doors are incredible things, aren't they? They let us in and out of places, they give us access to places, and they provide with us security. So with our house we have a front door, and our front door has a lock on it, and only those that we allow access to have access to the house. Only those that we allow have the key to get in. So it keeps us safe. And so doors allow us to go down different paths as well. In our lives we have many doors we can walk through, many paths we can take, or opportunities if you like, and we can walk through different doors for different things. So when I was younger, maybe sometimes I really wanted to walk through that door that gave me popularity, or I wanted to walk through that door that meant that I would date the girl that I really wanted to date, or walk through that door that just made me happy. I just wanted to be happy, so I'd walk through whatever door it was that made me happy. But the Bible describes there as being two doors. There is a door that brings us life and a door that brings us death. So we're going to have a look at what John says, what Jesus says about him being the door. So we're going to read together John chapter 10 verses 1 through to 10.
Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter the sheepfold by the door, but climbs in another way, that man is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is the shepherd of the sheep. To him the gatekeeper opens. The sheep hear his voice, and he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes before them, and the sheep follow him, for they know his voice. A stranger will not follow, but they will flee from him, for they do not know the voice of strangers. This figure of speech Jesus used with them, but they did not understand what he was saying to them. So Jesus again said to them, Truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not listen to them. I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly.
So John chapter 9, in that chapter, Jesus heals a blind man. There's a man who's begging, he's been blind since birth, and Jesus heals him. When he heals him, this man is excited, the town is excited, and this man is pulled before the Pharisees. Now the Pharisees are the teachers of the law, they are kind of the leaders of the Jewish people, they're the religious leaders at the time. And they ask the man, who has healed you? And the man says, Jesus. And this angers the Pharisees. And so they pull in the parents, they question the parents, they say, is this your son? They say, yes. Has he been blind? Was he blind? And they say, yes, he was blind from birth. They say, how has he been healed? And the parents fear the Pharisees, and so they don't answer. They say, our son will speak for himself. So they ask him again, who has healed you? And he says, Jesus has healed me. And this angers the Pharisees. It angers them so much that they excommunicate the blind man. And that means he is banished from the temple. That means he's no longer part of that community. He's no longer welcome to worship at the temple. So that's the context. That's kind of where we come into the story. Jesus is now talking to the Pharisees. So he's talking to the Pharisees, and in John chapter 10, he tells them, or gives them a little analogy, and he describes them as sheep, and Jesus is the shepherd, verses 1 to 5. And then 7 to 10, Jesus reiterates this image of the sheep. Jesus says, I am the door, because the Pharisees viewed themselves as the gatekeepers to the God. They're gatekeepers to God. And so if the Jewish people wanted to come to God, they had to go through the Pharisees. The Pharisees believed they interceded, which means they prayed on behalf of the Jewish people. And what Jesus was saying is, you may think you're the gatekeepers, but I am the gate. We're going to have a look at the invitation that Jesus gives us on the back of him being the door. And if we go back to the John chapter 10, and in verse 9, He says, I am the door. If anyone enters by me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. And then later he says, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. And that is the invitation we have today. That is the invitation that Jesus gives us. He invites us to come and have life in him. He invites us so that we can come and know him and know the Father through him. Jesus died so that he can be our door. He died so that we can know God. He died to give us that opportunity so that we can know freedom and we can know life in abundance. For those of you listening that would call yourselves Christians, for those of you listening that would say, I have chosen that door, I have walked through that door to follow Jesus. I've chosen to be a part of his flock, one of his sheep, as he is my shepherd. Then we can rejoice, we can praise God, and we can be happy, and we can be joyful because we know freedom. You know acceptance. You know a hope that goes beyond any situation we're in, a hope that goes beyond the coronavirus, a hope that goes beyond our grades at school, a hope that goes beyond any pain. We know freedom. We know, and most importantly, we have a relationship with the living God that has been provided by walking through that door. And for those of us that are unsure, we're kind of questioning Christianity, we're not sure who Jesus is, we're not really sure if it's real, we're not sure if it's for us, I would like to encourage you that actually this invitation is for you. It is for you right now. As you're listening to this invitation is from Jesus. It says in 9, I'm going to read it again, in verse 9 again, it says, I am the door. If anyone enters, that invitation is for you. And if you think you want to know that freedom, if you want to know that relationship, that personal relationship with the living God, if that's what you want, then I would encourage you, even right now, to pray. All you need to do is you need to accept that you have done things wrong. And actually the only way for you to be truly forgiven is through what Jesus did on the cross. And so a simple prayer of you saying sorry for what you've done wrong. It's a simple prayer of you accepting that it is only through Jesus that you can be made right. And then just an offering of praying that you want to live your life following God and live your life walking through that door into the green pastures and having life abundantly.